This is Duke Devil 95. My name is Brad Burnett, and this is the season finale review of The Mandalorian. Thank God it's finally here. All right, so this is chapter 24 of season 3. It's called The Return, and it picks up right where we left off. Bo-Katan is on the run. She and her troops have escaped from the Dark Troopers, but she contacts Axe Woves, who, if you remember, he was leaving to go get reinforcements. And I was kind of wondering, where's he going to get these reinforcements from? There's no ships on the surface. Is he going to call up? No, you can't call up. There's no communications. What does he do? He's flying into space. Yeah, that's right. He's literally flying into space on his little jetpack. The jetpack that the Mandalorians earlier could not race down a giant space pterodactyl who kidnapped Paz Vizsla's kid. They're going to use these tiny little jetpacks to go into orbit. Also, is this suit even space worthy? I don't know, but he's on his way through those terrible storm clouds that damn near rip apart the ships as you go through it. But he's got his armor. He's good. Makes no sense. Okay. All right, so Bo and her friends are on the run, and then we pick up seeing Mando. I'm going to go back to calling him Mando just because it's what I normally call him. He's being dragged along a hallway off to be tortured in the debriefing room, the very ominous-sounding debriefing room. He's being carried by two Dark Troopers, and he finally gets an opportunity to fight back. He struggles and eventually gets free of them, engages in a little bit of a fight. He's able to take out one by snapping his neck, but the other one catches him with a rope line and starts dragging him back and choking him. Now it looks really bad at this point because he's on his own. He's pinned from behind. He's got no hope. And then you hear no, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes. It is Grogu. Mecha Grogu has showed up and he's in his IG-12 armor and he wrests away the arm of the Dark Trooper. And then Mando's able to take him out himself. I think he knifes him in the chest or something. Something like that. Anyway, Mando gets free, and he and Grogu decide that they have to put a stop to this. That means going to stop Moff Gideon. So he tells Bo-Katan that he and Grogu are off to stop Moff Gideon while she and the other Mandalorians escape to the surface. Moff Gideon has launched his squadron of TIE interceptors to go take out the Mandalorian capital ship. Meanwhile, he's in his command station and notices on the map of the station 2 dots, a red dot and a green dot, moving through the station. And those are the only dots on there. So that's apparently a Mando and Grogu detector because one is red and the other one is green. So obviously green is Grogu. That's some specialized equipment. Anyway, he's tracking them and he decides it's time for, don the helmet and play Darth Gideon and go take them out. While Mando and Grogu are having trouble finding their way around because they don't have a map, they don't have a dot that shows where Moff Gideon is or his secret command center. So they contact R5D4 to come down and hack into the system and try to figure out where the command center is. So he's able to do that, and they now have a place to go. Elsewhere, in space, where Axe Woves is traveling in his Mandalorian armor, which may or may not be airtight, he gets on board the capital ship and tells everyone to evacuate. We're going to use the capital ship as a decoy. Everyone else is to evacuate to the surface, which means you all have to go and board the other ships we have, the gauntlets. So how do they do that? Well, again, they just put their helmets on and jump into space and fly over there. Because I guess that's how Mandalorian armor works. You just pop on a helmet and you can go into space. This Anyway, Wove stays behind to single-handedly take on the TIE interceptors that are coming in. So he's sitting center chair, firing blasters and everything as they attack the ship. And he's definitely taking some hits. It's going to be a rough bit. He's probably not going to last on this ship, but that was the plan. So we'll see what happens. Now that Mando and Grogu have that map that R5D4 gave them, they're able to track down command center, and that leads us to that area we saw in the previous episode with the red force shield separating every path, every sort of entryway along the path. each guarded by 2 Dark Troopers. So he has R5-D4 deactivate each one so he can run down the hallway, take 2 on, while the other ones are trapped behind the force fields. When, you know what? Honestly, it's not a bad tactic to use. The bad part, in my opinion, is I read another review by, of course, the great and vaunted IGN, which compared all this fighting to Daredevil. Yeah, they're comparing this fighting sequence to Daredevil. Are you freaking kidding me? This is what? Daredevil hallway sequence? No freaking way. I'm sorry. What the hell are you guys talking about? It's an okay fight. I mean, it is what it is. Again, it's very video game-like, going from step to step to step. He eventually gets to a control room, and inside, what does he find? Well, there's a bunch of tubes in there. And inside those tubes are bodies. In fact, you know what they are? They're clones. That's right. They are clones of Moff Gideon. And guess what we learn? We learn that these clones have actually been infused with the Force. So Gideon is cloning himself and giving himself the Force. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That's not how the Force works.
No, that's not how the Force works. Not at all. Not at all. You don't just inject midichlorians into someone and go, oh, I got the Force. That's how it works. Oh, I thought Dave Filoni actually knew lore. What the hell? Okay. Well, of course, one of the clones wakes up, looks at Grogu, who gets all scared, and Mando realizes we got to put a stop to these clones. So, of course, every cloning, tanking system comes with a self-destruct button, which he presses and then blows up all the clones. Because, yeah, that's, again, great planning. How convenient. Jesus. On the surface of the planet, the Bo-Katan's Mandalorian forces had met up with the armorer and the rest of the Mandalorian forces from the fleet. So now they're all prepared to go and take on the Imperial base and reclaim Mandalore. Mando himself is continuing to make his way through the command center and eventually confronts Moff Gideon, who in his armor is ready to take him on because he's righteously pissed that Mando killed all the clones. So now we get this little battle back and forth, some laser fire, some rocket fire, and I'm guessing this dark troop armor is powered in some way, kind of like an Iron Man suit, because he's just throwing Mando around left and right, throwing some hard punches at him, and at some point here, he throws him away, throws him to the side, and then 3 Praetorian guards come in. The red clad armored Praetorian guards are coming in with their force staffs, and they start hacking at Mando. Grogu comes in and distracts them. So what do? Well, they go after Grogu because, yeah, what the hell? So now Grogu has to fight 3 Praetorian guards. Mando tries to help him, but Moff Gideon yanks him back with a grappling hook. And poor little Grogu's now walled off. The door's closed behind Grogu in another room, and he's now being attacked by the Praetorian guards. And literally, this may be the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Of course, they quickly cut down the mech armor because, there's only so much baby Grogu can do with his joysticks and yes and no button. But Grogu gets away because why? He does what Grogu does, which is jump, because it's so cute, especially when he jumps into Lizzo's arms. So he's literally jumping all over the place, and now he's running along, some scaffolding up top, and they cannot get him. They can't get him. These Praetorian guards are hacking and slashing, and we got little Grogu, and he's not Speedy Gonzalez, for God's sakes. He's just sort of hopping along, and they can't get him. And eventually, they finally, cut at him, and he falls to the ground and gets trapped under a piece of the scaffolding. Oh boy, this does not look good for Grogu. Not at all. All right, what else is going on in the battle for Mandalore? All the Mandalorians and their jetpacks have engaged all the Dark Troopers in their jetpacks. We got a bunch of battling back and forth. It looks like, a bunch of Rocketeers, if you remember that movie. Bo-Katan is fighting with the Darksaber, hacking and slashing, shooting some blasters at everyone. And of course, the armor is using her best weapons, which are 2 hammers. Um, Meanwhile, down at the command center itself, on the surface there, Mando's not doing too well. He's getting his ass kicked, and it doesn't look good for him. But fortunately, there's the save because here comes Bo-Katan. Yeah, that's right. Bo-Katan comes in for the save, so Mando can go help Grogu. And now we finally have the battle we've been waiting for, the return bout between Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan, because this is what we've all been building for a couple episodes. It's an okay fight. I mean, it's not bad, and again, I don't have a problem with Katie Sackhoff playing Bo-Katan and Bo-Katan having warrior skills. Bo-Katan is a trained Mandalorian warrior. That's fine. And legitimately, this time, she does not get the best of Moff Gideon. I mean, he's got his power armor going, so he's able to, strike at her a few times and eventually grabs hold of the Darksaber and crushes it. So there goes the Darksaber. That ain't good. Not for her. But those things aren't going well for her. It's not going well for Grogu because now he's trapped under the scaffolding and here come those Praetorian guards. Who's going to save him? Well, of course, Mando comes in just in time and they start attacking Mando and it's not going well for him either. But fortunately, we have a little, force sensitive, force powered Grogu there to help. So he starts throwing the Praetorian guards back and forth, enabling Mando to get the better of them and eventually shoots them, I guess, under their armor since they're all wearing Beskar armor, I guess it. So he shoots them under the armor and kills them all. Okay. Whatever. Now, while all this battling in the Imperial Command Center is going on, maybe we should check in and see what's going on with Axe Woes. Remember, he was being attacked by all the TIE interceptors. Well, it's not gone well for him. In fact, the ship is crashing, but he's got a plan himself. He's going to dive that ship straight into the Imperial Command Center and take it out. Okay, that's a plan. All your Mandalorians are there, but okay, we're going to see how that works. Bo-Katan still facing off against Moff Gideon. Things are not going well from her. She's in a vulnerable position. He's clearly got, her bested. But fortunately, now Din Djarin comes in and he starts attacking too. So Mandalorians are stronger together is what he says. Because I guess that's the theme, if there's a theme of this season. So they both start attacking Moff Gideon. Grogu comes in as well and uses the Force to help them out a little bit. The giant, Mandalorian capital ship is now crashing into the planet, crashing into the base while all the Mandalorians are flying out. Now, mind you, we now still have Moff Gideon, we got Grogu, we got Din Djarin, and we got Bo-Katan all really close to where this thing's going to crash. So literally, as they're fighting, we can see it come crashing down. And Mando and Bo and Grogu sort of take cover all together. You can see the ship crash behind Moff Gideon while they're all standing there watching, and the fire and explosions coming straight at him, and it engulfs Moff Gideon because that's what explosions do. And as it comes at him, suddenly it just goes around them. How is this possible, you may wonder? Well, it's our little Force user Grogu, who somehow, through very limited training, has the ability to project a force shield. A fourth shield to prevent the fire from getting to them all. So Mando, Bo-Katan, and Grogu survive the giant inferno from a crashing star cruiser. I know this is space wizards and laser swords, but holy crap. Come on. Wow. The Mandalorians have won the battle. They've beaten back Moff Gideon and destroyed the Imperial base. We now find ourselves in the living waters where Paz Vizsla's son, his son is completing the creed, being bathed in the waters. Mando comes forth with Grogu and asks him to, ask the armorer to have him introduced and sworn in basically as a Mandalorian. And she says, yeah, he can't speak, so he can't even say the creed. Yeah, he can't speak. Again, equivalent of a 5-year-old human. Can't talk. Wow. um, it ends up that the Mando decides, I'm going to adopt him. He's my son now. And he's now named, Armorer says, your name is Din Grogu. I don't know how that works because it's Din Djarin. Djarin, I believe, is the last name. Bo-Katan Kryze is the last name. Grief Karga's the last name. It's very clear. I mean, Sabine Wren, Boba Fett. There's a last name and a first name, but for some reason, Grogu's his last name now. Okay, or whatever. Um, he's now his apprentice, and as Mando's apprentice, he needs to be instructed in the ways of the Mandalore. That means going off, taking adventures around the galaxy. So they take off. They leave Mandalore. Mandalore, though, is reborn because all the Mandalorians have returned to the planet. Those have united through Bo and the armor, return to the planet. They reignite the forge. Everyone bangs their gauntlets together. It's a celebration of some sort. We then find Mando and Grogu have gone into space in the N1 starfighter. Again, I point out the best starfighter anyone trying to hunt down bounties could have because there's so much space to put bounties. I guess maybe if he puts them in carbonite, he can just tie them to the back of the tail of the ship and just drag them through hyperspace. Okay, does that work? Anyway, they go to the rebel base where we saw earlier, and they meet up with Captain Tiva. And Mando says, "Look, I'm looking for some work. I got to train my apprentice here how to be a Mandalorian, so I'm available for jobs, but as an independent contractor. So basically, it's like, where's your Craigslist? Show me what jobs you got." Tiva's like, "Okay, we'll do that, but it's kind of not official." And Mando's like, "That's fine. We'll talk about compensation, but for now, just give me that assassin droid head." He sees an IG assassin droid head, and he wants it for parts. Why does he want it for parts? Well, let's go back to the second most common planet in Star Wars, second only to Tatooine, and that would be Navarro. Now we find ourselves back on Navarro, and he's meeting with Grief Karga. And what does Grief Karga do? Grief Karga gives him a little cabin so that he and Grogu can hang out and spend, some quality family time together. So, it's like closing on a house. They shake hands, and now he's got keys to the house. Maybe they could have worked in a combo episode with HGTV, have Mando and Grogu look at different huts, different cabins. What do they like? Do they want a 3-bedroom with 2 bath? They want a pool? I don't know. I mean, that could be really interesting and definitely a good way to, get more content out there for Disney, right? Well, Mando, of course, is very thankful to have a new home, and he gives Reef Karga and the people of Navarro a gift. What does he give them? He gives them a new marshal. Who's this new marshal? Well, it is the rebuilt IG-11. And he's looking sharp. He's all put back together. He's just waving, hi, I'm your marshal, I'm your marshal. And everyone's very happy that we have a droid marshal. Because the former assassin droid, that nothing could go wrong with that. Let's all applaud it. And then we go to the end of the show finally. We see Mando and Grogu relaxing in their little cabin on Navarro. Mando's just sitting down. Now, no one's around him. Grogu's not even looking at him. Helmet's still on. Grogu's torturing frogs, playing with them with the Force, because I guess that's what a sadistic child does. Tortures little animals. Maybe he should have stayed with Luke. And then we have a nice little close in circle, and the show's over. And that's it. And what the hell was this season about? I don't know. It was trying to throw a bunch of stuff on the wall, see what sticks. That's my thought. There was no cohesion to this. I thought, when this whole thing started, I thought it was all going to be about Mando going on the quest, to regain his status as a Mandalorian, but that was resolved real quick. And then I guess it became the Bo-Katan show for a bit. And then suddenly we threw in Moff Gideon with this side plot about, uh, Lieutenant Kane being a spy. We get some clues or hints as to Thrawn coming back and the building of the First Order. I mean, I've watched this twice, and as I've said before, I watch it once myself, then I watch it with my girlfriend, who is a normal person, does not have the background or lore knowledge of Star Wars that I do. And her response was, "That was meh." And yeah, it was meh. There are some nice fight sequences in there for a bit, but it just I don't know what the purpose of this show is other than to set up another show. This is, I've heard it said before, this is generic Star Wars show. I guess now, I know there is a season 4. I think Favreau may be involved still. There's possibilities that he's not. I know that I read somewhere that Pedro Pascal was actually not involved a great deal in this finale because he had to go film Last of Us. So he provided voiceover as he's done this entire season, which is why we never have him take off the helmet this season. Does he get paid voice actor salary? That's all he did. Of course, maybe he'll have more time for Mandalorian now because, season 2, his involvement in season 2 of Last of Us is not going to be a hell of a lot. Abby's going to make certain of that, that's for sure. So maybe he'll come back. I don't know. Does anyone really care? It took 2 years for this season to come out. Who knows when they're going to start filming? They got Ahsoka going on. I guess the Acolyte's coming out at some point. There's rumors. I say rumors, but there's announced movies. We'll see how those go. We are, I guess, please don't be holding your breath for the Rian Johnson trilogy. That's never going to happen. Kevin Feige, what happened to his thing? I don't know. I still doubt that this Daisy Ridley Rey movie's going to come off. I've just this is a ship without a rudder. There is a person supposedly in charge, but does not look like she's doing much other than promoting the idea that the Force is female. So we've survived a season of The Mandalorian. Probably not going to watch it again. Me too. We'll see what comes out next for Star Wars. I guess that's Ahsoka in a couple months, and that'll be a thing. So overall, Mandalorian, aimless, directionless, rudderless, just like the rest of the Star Wars franchise at this point. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click like, click subscribe, click share. I'll see you later.